According to Trump, the US has put in $200 billion more than Europe, and that Europe will get its money back, while the US won't. That, again, is not true. In fact, it's never been true that the US has spent more than Europe. Looking at this graph from Kiel Institute in Germany, it shows that as a whole, the US, the red line, has always lagged behind Europe, the blue line, when it comes to funding. Yvette is a woman on a mission, setting traps to attract her slimy nemesis.
If you look underneath, you will probably find a little collection of them, all sitting there with their little friends.
So do you just come round and
I come round, yes, and I pick them all off and then I take them and put them in the compost heap.
They've long been thought of as the enemy of the amateur gardener and wanting nothing more than our lettuces. But do they deserve that reputation? Well, we're being asked to have a rethink. Caspar Harbo is a key figure in the municipal government and has been integral in reducing the city's emissions, which have fallen by more than 40% since 2005. He says the key to Copenhagen's success has been getting people to turn their backs on cars altogether.
When we ask people why they bike in Copenhagen, they say they do it because it's fast, it's easy, it's cheap, and it's good for the health. And then comes the environment as number 4 or 5.
The build-up of these French boats, I mean, how many are there and what is their aim?
Well, the aim at the moment is a little unclear. I mean, the atmosphere has been quite electric for the last hour or so. The boats came in en masse. I mean, there must be at least 100. They came all the way into the harbour. Some flares were set off. There was a bit of a tussle between a few of the boats, but they've now retreated to just outside the main harbour where they seem to be creating a blockade. We've seen a couple of Jersey's boats head out as well, and we've just heard from one of the politicians that they're looking to get on a boat as soon as they can.
Well, Caroline Lewis is at Glasgow Central for us now. And Caroline, what's the latest?
Well, I think hopes that a resolution is going to be found before next week are fading fast, and the full details of what this is going to mean for commuters were revealed today. On Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday next week, across Scotland, just 5 services will be running, and they'll all be in the Central Belt. They're helping to replace 287 electricity poles along an 18-kilometre stretch from Tainault to Tulloch. And I got to tag along for the ride. Using helicopters instead of trucks means these guys are able to get to remote areas with a minimal impact to the environment. But it's also about speed, as they're able to pick up and deliver these poles in a matter of minutes.
We knew right at the outset that those of us who were coming face to face with this highly unpredictable virus were going to be putting themselves in harm's way.
They're the people that have kept our islands running through one of the darkest years in our history.
I'm a frontline worker.
I'm a frontline worker.
I'm a GP and a frontline worker.
And these are their stories. From the coast to the countryside, climate change is making its mark. Ian Wilson runs a 2,000-acre arable and livestock farm in Aberdeenshire. He lives his life by the weather, and so do his 22 workers.
It seems to be either too wet, too dry, too hot, too cold. The traditional seasons don't seem to be that way anymore. Those extremes just put too much luck in the job. You play all your cards, you've got all your ducks in a line. Along comes Mother Nature and ruins all your good plans.
As a farm manager, how is it watching in those periods of drought, when there isn't anything you can do, watching those crops kind of wither and die?
Terrifying.
And today, even more businesses have been able to follow suit, including this salon just here. I'm going to head into the salon with my mask. I've sanitised my hands, as clients have been all the time. And joining me here is owner Anna. Anna, so much anticipation ahead of today. How's it been?
It was an absolutely amazing day.
Artists including Groove Armada, Hiatus and Kate Stables have each composed a piece of music to perfectly accompany an iconic Jersey location. There are 7 listening posts dotted around Jersey's coastline. This one here at Gronay has a unique offering by Mercury Prize nominee folk singer Sam Lee. To listen, all I need to do is scan the QR code and enjoy the view.
Under old moon's mantle.
When someone has Alzheimer's, amyloid protein pieces start to clump together, creating a sticky gunge around the neurons in the brain, which stops them from working effectively. Lecanemab is an antibody, so it works by attaching itself to these proteins, triggering an immune response by the body, which ultimately breaks them down. The latest trial of the drug was tested on 1,795 people in the early stages of Alzheimer's. After 18 months, scientists found the drug slowed the rate of the disease by 27% when compared to patients taking the placebo. And although this difference is modest, it brings hope that Alzheimer's could be treated.
If it proves successful, Graham hopes it will give families like his time they didn't have.
So far it doesn't feel like there's been anything, and although it's just the beginning, it's at least a bit of hope that they're on their way to finding a cure.
King Charles and the Queen Consort have been crowned at Westminster Abbey. Millions of people from around the world watched the British monarchy's first coronation in 70 years. And here in Scotland, events were held across the country to mark the occasion. We'll be back with your headlines tomorrow. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your evening. Goodbye.